Welcome to the Magic Lighthouse Podcast. For those of us who are aware that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, the Magic Lighthouse is your mystical pit stop, your spiritual tune-up, your place to pause, reflect, and realign with the next phase of our journey. Join me, Violet Conce, on this adventure to harmonize and amplify the light within ourselves and each other as we raise the consciousness of the planet, one conversation at a time. Thank you for being here and sharing your light with us. Enjoy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Magic Lighthouse Podcast. And today, I'm so excited to have one of my dearest friends, one of my closest sisters, soul sisters in this lifetime, Lindsay Hensley with Lindsay Joseph Skincare, which we'll get into. But this girl, she is powerful. She is results-driven. She is connected to the divine, and we've had conversations for hours and hours on just the craziest topics, and I'm excited to just dive into whatever we're going to talk about in this one. So thank you so much, Lindsay, for coming and being here with us. I'm so happy to be your friend and to have you on the podcast.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you. It's my honor to be with you. This is so exciting. So, yes.
So I feel called to do a few seconds of just like mindfully breathing together. And I do this on most episodes to kind of have everybody reset and like get into the space to allow for whatever we're going to be talking about, whatever's going to come through. You align with that?
Awesome, I do. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So sit up in your chair, or if you're listening and you're somewhere else, if maybe you're laying down. If you're driving, just keep driving and focusing on the road. And take a deep breath. Hold it at the top. And let it out with a sigh. You can close your eyes here or have them slightly open. Take another deep breath here. As you hold it at the top. Let it out. Let's think about an intention for today or for tonight, whenever you're listening to this. And breathe that intention in. And let out your breath. And let out anything that is not your intention. Anything that could get in the way of fulfilling that intention. Take another deep breath in. Let it out. As you feel your molecules resetting with that intention, feel free to move or sway. And let's take our last deep breath together here. In. Hold it at the top. Let it out with sound. Now get present to your body. Get present to the room around you or the space around you as you blink your eyes open. Then come back into the space. And what I'm present to right now is just space and nothingness and everythingness and how everything comes from the nothing. What's there for you, Lindsay?
Yeah, the same, actually, that you say that. Because, when you close your eyes, you don't see anything. It's like dark. Like, what is on the other side, right? Like, I'm nothing. Like, I'm the nothingness, right? But it can birth and create anything. Like, you kind of put a language to what was there. It was like some scattered thoughts coming back to earth, right? From someplace else, even though you never left where you are. So, yeah. Thank you for that.
Ooh, I already got like 2 chills from just what you were saying.
Yeah, I've been in deep here recently, I mean, this has been, I think, like the year to just really dive in to whatever it is, right? Like, even this podcast, like, such an amazing thing to dive into right now. And yeah, I've been doing a lot of diving in with myself and my spirit, like my belief system, my spirituality, like what is it that rings true for me? So,
Well, what is it? What is it that rings true for you? What is your spirituality? What is your
I just think, we I don't know, ask me another question because it's not there for me.
All right. Well, let's just jump into your company, your skincare line. Does that feel good for you?
Yeah, let's come back to that. I feel because there's just so much for me to say. I like don't even know where to begin. I've like not left the house this year, but yeah, I've been like so many places, like researching and listening to things and like exploring all these new areas. So I like froze up there when you asked me because I just had no idea where to start. But yeah, let's start with my skincare company. I think that's probably a more solid place to go, which is kind of my belief system, I guess. Like really, I created a all natural skincare company. Really, it got birthed out of me wanting to be able to have a product that didn't have any chemicals in it. I couldn't find anything at the store that didn't have anything added to it. And so I started messing around with some oils, and over time, like a lot of time, a few years actually, I finally worked something out that worked for myself, and now I've created a whole skincare line of all natural skincare products that I've tried and tested. And I'm really at the source of it. Like I'm really at the source of what's in them, like where I purchased the ingredients, like how they're sourced, and then when I make them, I take a lot of care and attention in doing so. And I guess like that is my belief system, like really being at the source of my life, who I am, being connected to source, knowing that source is me, right? I am source. So,
yes. Sourceful Being right there. That's her Instagram handle. Just FYI, guys.
Yes, it is.
And you really are. But I would love to talk about with your products, just really quickly, like what kind of products do you use or what kind of ingredients do you use? And like what kind of ingredients do you use?
I use a lot of oils. I think everything in the moisturizer is an oil of some sort, whether it be like there's a little bit of coconut oil, there's sweet almond oil, there's also frankincense and lang lang, right? So there's like oils, and then there's also essential oils too. And then in the cleanser, there is witch hazel. I don't think that's considered an oil at all. And then it's mixed in, and I use a emulsifier and I blend everything up, and I make small batches, and so everything is there. And then I also have bath salts and face masks too, which are not essential oils, but they're all natural clays and natural powders, and like I've put a bunch of minerals back into the bath salts that I create because a lot of tap water it strips the minerals that are in the water that you then go bathe in. So these bath salts replace a lot of those minerals. So all natural. They're things from Mother Earth. They're like Mother Earth's ingredients. Nothing that has been like adulterated or heavily processed ingredients.
I love that. And that's so interesting about the bath salts. For example, you said the bath salts put back the minerals, what the water that we like fill our baths with take out of our bodies, right?
Well, no, it's the water company actually when they purify the water that runs through our pipes. That a lot of that water is stripped from its natural minerals. So because like water is a very healing element. Like you can take baths out in nature, like being in the ocean, lakes, rivers, ponds. Hot springs, right, are this like huge tourist attraction, mud baths, and it's all because of the healing properties that are in water. Yeah.
So what is the process of you creating a product like your moisturizer, for example?
Yeah, I have a little workshop, and I set myself up because it's like I get my water and I get like usually something yummy to drink, like a tea, and I bring my little speaker, and I'll put on a playlist, like something that makes me feel good, some music, and depending on like if I'm making it for a certain group of people, I might put on like a certain kind of music, right? Like, uh, um, and then I really take time to be with myself. I might do a little meditation or a little like affirmation, something, because I really when I make them, what I like to do is set an intention, like set the frequency of the product. Like everything has a frequency, right? Everything has resonance, everything has a frequency. And so I take the time and, be with God or source or the universe, whatever, however you want to say it. And I pray, pray and I'll bless the products. And especially if I know, if my friends are going to purchase or whoever is going to purchase them, right? Because even if I don't know you, I would still consider you my friend, of course. And I will set the intention of like worthiness or relaxation or beauty, or like I was making things, or like sexiness. I don't know. I mean, whatever calls to me, or it may be even something that I know that I'm struggling with. And if I'm struggling with it, I know someone else is on the struggle bus too. And it's probably even in the collective for that matter, if I'm dealing with it. And so I set an intention and a frequency to the products, and what's magical is that I will talk to people who are using those products and they'll say, oh my God, I felt so worth it. I felt like I took time out for myself and felt worth it. And I'm like, because that was the frequency I set. So it's super cool. And it's super cool that not only do these like products make a difference because they're all natural, and for most people, they make a huge difference when you stop using so much chemicals and things that have toxins in it. But then too, to have the frequency that's set with it, it's pretty magical.
That is super magical. Setting intentions is so powerful.
It is. Sometimes I'm tired after I make them. I'm not gonna lie. Other times I'm like so full of energy, right? And I know when and I guess in that case, like I know when I've been doing the work that's necessary for myself, when I leave and feel energized, because it's not like taking anything from me. But yeah, I being clear and like doing the work and then setting intentions and having them actually be fulfilled, it is like the most fun game.
Is there ever times when you're making your product and you're just like not in the space and you're just like, ugh, I don't want to do this. Like, I love it, but I'm kind of would rather be hiking, or I'd kind of rather be doing this other thing.
Usually no, because if I don't feel like doing it, then I don't do it that day. Like I'm not really that into doing things that I don't want to do or that don't feel good or um yeah, this whole like diving deep and diving in, like exploring like my human design chart and like my birth chart extensively and all these things. Like I've gotten to know myself very well this year too, being home, right? Um, and I'm very much someone that if something's happening, I got to stop, check it out, check in, maybe even be with it for a while and see kind of how it feels inside and like come back to it and then check in. And if it feels good, then I'm good. But if not, then I no, because I would not want to send a product that had that frequency and it, depending on how it was. Now I've definitely like questioned myself as I'm making products. Like, this is crazy, girl. This is crazy. You got your own little business here, making stuff. Like, what do you like? And I just know, like, okay, that's like small self, right? That's like whatever. Yeah, right. So, and I'll tend to that and like put it to the side and yeah, there's times where I've like put things off or said yes. I'm like, shoot, I got to get this done. But once I get into it, once I can manage that, like get real with myself, like I know it's 11 o'clock at night, Lindsay, and you still have like 20 things to make, right? And it's cool. Like, and that's when I really connect to source and connect within myself. And it's like, this may sound crazy, but I can like make time stand still and get a lot done in a short amount of time. I just won't look at the clock. Like just put the phone on the other side of the workspace. Don't even look at it. Put the music on and just get to work and don't think about it. And it's so crazy because during those times, like it takes me a fraction of the amount of time that I think it would. And it's like midnight and I'm like going to bed and I'm like, wow, that didn't take that long at all. So no, I if I didn't feel like making product or something or being in that space or felt like, then no, I'll wait and do it the next day or do it later at night or something. But other than that, no, it's fun. It's fun to make products. I like it.
That's awesome. I love that. And that points to, like these are handmade by you personally. So they're extra special because you personally see to every drop of product going into the bottles, into the containers, getting shipped out. You're doing all of the, this is your business that you're running. So what's that like for you? Like being the one woman show. I'm sure you have help here and there. But yeah, like, and I think a lot of people start out, as doing everything in their business and coming from corporate world. Like I know at the beginning of the year, right? Last year you were working for other companies.
I was.
And then you've kind of been transitioning over. So one, I guess the question is, what's it like, being your boss, being your own boss and being the boss, and then going from like coming from having a boss at another job to transitioning and like, creating your own business, making it all yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's a journey for sure. Yeah, I've been back and forth. Started this, went to work, started it, like left, was like, okay, I'm doing it. And then, there's like bills I have to pay and stuff. And sometimes it hasn't been, it takes something to start something. It's like the boulder at the bottom of the hill. Like you got to like push it and create this momentum, and it takes something. And yeah, I mean, it's so much easier to. I mean, I thought at least it's so much easier to just work at an office or some place where someone can tell me what to do, and I don't have to think about it myself.
And they just give you a check every week.
Right? It's like a little bit of the Matrix, right? Like you're like in the Matrix in a sense, like going to do your job and It's the same thing every day. And I don't know. I just really, it feels good to be able to do whatever the hell I want, whenever the hell I want. Like, it's awesome. Like, if I don't feel like doing something, I don't have to, and I can go do whatever. And I think that's like my favorite part of being, like, having my own business. And on the opposite side of that, like, I have to be responsible for it. Like, if I'm not gonna do anything, like, well, when am I gonna do it? Like, right? And there's no one coming for me, right?
Right.
There's no boss that's coming for me to have me answer to myself. And I am, like you said in the beginning of this, like, I'm very result driven. I like to produce results. I do. And it's fun. So I've got to be coming for me.
Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
what are your top tips for anybody who maybe they're working a job, maybe they're, working remote, and they're, whether they're remote or whether they're like an essential worker and working at a grocery store, or they're, whatever it is, but they're like, "Ooh, I really want to do this thing that's my passion, but I can't because I have to pay my bills and I have kids and I have my student loans and da da da. But I really want to, sell candles." Like, what would you say to somebody like that?
I would say to just start, first of all, start somewhere and have all the compassion that you can for yourself along the way. Like, that would be like my biggest tip, is to just start. Like, I mean, I'm not saying like quit your job and go invest your whole savings account into candles, and I would do what feels good. Like, really check in and see what feels good too. Like, when I say have compassion for yourself, like, I don't just mean like forgiving yourself when you don't start, or for messing up, or something like that. It's more like the connectedness that you have with yourself. And I think when you can get connected to yourself, like, there's this knowing that comes over you, and it's like maybe answering your calling or your purpose, or maybe it's God, knocking at your door, being like, "Hello, you should start this. This is what you should do." Right? So really, like, being connected and having that space and love and compassion for yourself, and I think you'll know whatever that is that you're supposed to be doing, first of all. Like, or whatever calls to you, like, pulls for something out of you. Um and then if you just follow it, like, I think when you're on your natural path, like in nature, things know what to do. And if you mess up and things don't go the way you thought, or I know for me, like, I've like quit jobs and started, and then I made paid money for things, and I'm like, oh no, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have, like, paid that price, or and it's like, if I keep just doing what I know to do, everything will always work out, and it always does. Like, in fact, I'm using these containers that I bought last year for this event that I'm working on. And I already had these. I was like, man, I need some nice containers. I don't have any of these. I wish I had a better thing to put this in. And then I remembered last year that I bought like 60 of these, like, jars, that I was like, I don't know what to do with these now. And so, just to be like patient, right? Patient, compassionate with yourself, and just say yes. Say yes to whatever comes your way, if it feels good, and not to worry about how it's going to get worked out. Because in my past experiences, if I don't worry and I just let the universe have it, then everything always works out in the end, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely can relate to that. I had like two questions that came up that I wanted to ask you. One of them is, when you are like, for the person who is, that we just talked about, they wanted to create something from their soul. sometimes it's hard for us to know what it is that our soul wants us to do. Do you have any tips on how to connect to ourselves and to our souls to hear that voice that's telling us what direction we should go into and where our soul wants to
Mm-hmm.
go?
Yeah. Well, I think there's like a little bit of a trap in that question, because I've been in the trap of trying to hear the little voice, right? Like we think that there's like this little voice inside of it that's going to be like, Lindsay, this is what you should do. You should go. And it doesn't work like that, right? Like it doesn't work like that. So I think if you like connecting with yourself and being able to listen to whatever that is, like what it takes is really slowing life down, being willing to meditate, yoga, quiet walks, be in silence. For me, it's like the messages are clear in those quiet moments when I'm not like, I'm, it's like I'm thinking, right? Because obviously I'm always thinking, but it's not all mucked up with what I got to do and blah, blah, blah. I'm mad at this person, right? And it's not like cloudy with all the stuff. And I think I've done my best work doing the dishes, like having
Yes, the
things,
dishes.
right? Those
Yes.
quiet moments where you're like, oh my God, I should do this. And for me, this is tried and true, tested over. And I'm saying I've had some tough conversations before I go to bed with myself about stuff, right? Like, should I do this? Should I not do this? Should I stay? Should I go? Right? Like, there's a job I was in. I said I was going to start this business, and then I took a job, and it just wasn't going out the way that I thought. And for nights, so this is what I do. If I ever have that moment where I'm like, I don't know, maybe I should do this. That's step one, like being in the being able to listen, because it may not just be a thought that you have. It may be like a sign. Someone may say something to me, like I may read something, like the communications are everywhere that can come. And if I catch one and I think, then what I do is before I go to bed at night, I say, God, if this is what you want me to do, please bring grace and ease. And if it's not, please make it clear. Give me a clear sign that this is not what I should be doing. And he answers no matter what. The universe answers no matter what. Like no fail. And with this job, like I got so many answers like every day, and I was like, nope, nope, nope. And I was like not happy, and I kept not being happy. And I share this because like I used to be worried and concerned that I would miss it, that I would miss the sign, I would miss that little voice, I would miss the answered prayer. And if you don't get it, you will. Like if you don't get it, like you're gonna keep getting the same. I kept getting the same answer until I got it, and so yeah.
It's like we keep staying in the same situation, hoping that it'll get better, or that like, okay, maybe now, and it's like,
Mhm.
no, you're gonna keep staying the way you are. Like whether it's in the wrong relationship, or the wrong friendship, the wrong job, like yeah, the universe gives us signs. Even when we're not, I think like the universe is always giving us signs regardless. And I
Mhm.
love that question that you asked before bed, because that's bringing your own awareness to it and your own intention, and that's like reshaping our like filters or our blind, our glasses, putting on our glasses to see that intention so that we can
Mhm.
like be a clear channel for the message of like stay or you should move on to the next thing.
Right. Totally. Totally. Because it's there. It's there. There's been like certain relationships in my life where I've been like, oh my God, like, I don't know about this anymore. Like, please, like, and it's always like the very next day I'll have an amazing conversation with that person or whatever. And then I'm clear, like, okay, well, then this person is in my life for me to grow or to learn from, or maybe whatever it is that I'm resisting, it's like a mirror, right? So, and then there are other things too that, like, yeah, like you just know, like with whoever is working whatever job, and yeah, they're thinking about starting a business, like you just kind of know, like there's just this knowing, and you you know what you should be doing. Like if you hate your job and you keep doing it, like you said, like it's gonna be the same until you start something new or you take a new action. So that's why I say just start someplace, like buy a few things and start making something and sell it to your friends. That's how I started. I started selling to my friends. Then my friends started telling their other friends about it. And then it just started like growing to the point where, yeah, I don't have to go back to, you know, other jobs anymore. So it's nice over time, right? Over time. So, and it took me, yeah, having some questions too. Like, definitely have had that prayer before I went to bed. Like, when I've like had not a lot of money in my bank account, and I'm like, okay, God, like, I'm doing it. So, what? Please help me out. And then it's so funny. I'll get, and no, I don't like wake up with money in my account by any means, but like I don't know, I'll get checks in the mail from like 2 years ago with taxes, or um, someone will offer me like something on the side or make a big purchase from me. I don't know. Yeah, praying really works.
Yeah, praying really does work, and it's like setting intentions really works, and it's kind of like very much in the same realm or the same frequency, right? Because we're aligning to a higher power, and then like turning it over and just having faith and trust that it'll all work out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think too, like, because when you're in the world of frequency, like there's like high frequency and low frequency, and in the lower frequency, that's the noise, right? That's the static. That's the trying to get somewhere in the matrix. And so when you can,
Like the Joneses and
yeah,
the am I good enough? Am I gonna make my father proud after 80 years?
right. And really, it's like a symphony. Actually, there's like, and it's like frequency. You know, you can go up another octave, right, and another octave, and another octave. And I mean, forever. So um there's like no end to this raising the frequency. It makes me wonder, like, if there what it would be like to get so far up, because I really do think that when you can raise your frequency, be in a high space, not entertain, right, like this, like everything that's going on right now, it's inevitable, it's the world we live in, and I can choose whether or not and how I engage with it, right? Like, I'm not going to ignore it and what's going on, and I can still remain in a high frequency about it, and show love, like, even to, because with love and hate can't live in the same place, right? Like, I can't feel one way about something and also love at the same time. And so being able to do that kind of work where all it is love at a high frequency, that is where manifestation is pure. And if it is what you should have in life, like, not like you deserve it or you're worth it, like, no, because that doesn't live in that high frequency. It's whatever is like naturally yours, then it can be asked for in that space and you will receive. Like, you can ask for abundance, you can ask for whatever, love, like, but what you ask for then too has to come from that pure place. So of course I wouldn't be asking for, like, I mean, I can ask for money, but I can't be attached to like what it will look like when it comes, right? Like, it's, you know what I'm saying.
Oh Oh yeah, because when you're the frequency of abundance, then it arises in anything like abundance of fresh air, abundance of water to drink. Sure, it can be abundance of money. That would be awesome too. But it's more of a frequency and a feeling. I mean, a feeling is an indicator of the frequency, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. But it does. Yeah, we could have a whole podcast on just like frequencies and what is that, and breaking it down. Um, but yeah, like what are some tips for? I keep saying, what are some tips? What are some tips for raising your frequency? One, using your skincare because it's like all natural products, all sourced naturally, and you're, doing self care to yourself, which there's so much behind that. But like, do you have other things that you do to raise your frequency?
Yeah, I talk to other like high frequency people, like where and yeah, meditating, yoga, dance. Dancing has been, yes, it has been such a tool here recently. Um, Not being on social media, like really, like I kind of taken a little hiatus right now off of all social media just to like, because yeah, everything has a frequency. Um, even the foods that I eat, like I buy things that are not processed and organic, and not just that, like it's because it's hard right now with things not being open. But I didn't realize farmers market farm fresh vegetables versus the grocery store until, like, this was a long time ago. I lived in a house full of people and I made dinner. And normally I'd go to the farmers market, and there was like one or two times that I didn't, but it was like my thing to go to the farmers market on Sunday. And I brought back fruits and vegetables, and I would make the same dishes, like this, a couple dishes quite often. And I made the same dish that I'd made several times before, but it was stuff from the grocery store. And people were like, "Did you do something different? This tastes different." And I'm like, "Oh," like I couldn't think of anything. And I thought, "Oh, well, I bought the groceries at the grocery store and not like the farmer's market." And then I'd go to like this butcher. It was right next door. And I thought, wow, like you really can taste the difference in food. And so it like, that's where this started. But now, like looking, it's all in the world of frequency, right? Because someone grew the vegetables, like someone planted that seed with an intention that the carrots were going to grow. And then someone came and took care of it, came and picked it, came and sold it at the market. Like having that kind of sourceful thinking, like really getting back to how it started, where it came from, how it's been turned over, right? Like who's handled it. Because then, I mean, everything has a frequency. So then I'm going to ingest it. And the same thing with skincare products, right? Like all the stuff. So really, that's one big way that I've raised my frequency, is to not use a lot of processed things, eat a lot of processed things, have too many chemicals and toxins around me. Mm-hmm.
Is just shifting gears just a little bit. What's something that you're excited about that's coming up?
Well, a couple things. Like, first of all, just astrologically, like there's just like so much going on this year. Like entering the age of Aquarius, I've really like dived deep into astrology. And last year it was predicted to be a tough year. And it's gonna be how it's gonna be for a while. And like there's just so many exciting things coming up. So that there's that. Um, I'm also doing a retreat with we've been the Goddess Ignite retreat, which I'm very excited about, which I did. Well, I won't even say it. But I'm very excited about that. And I'm just excited. I have a lot of badass, powerful women that are up to stuff around me. Like I have another friend, her name's Anna. She's doing this like 6-week immersion course that I'm registered into. There's just like, I just have some really amazing, powerful women. You're doing this, like this podcast, like I look forward to listening to this. I'm really excited to see, how the women around me grow and expand. That's what I think I'm most excited about right now. Yeah.
That's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. And I love what you said a little bit back before about being at the source of where your information and your thoughts are coming from too, because we're constantly having thoughts. Like our bodies are constantly, like our minds are constantly generating thoughts. And you could say, sometimes we might be receiving thoughts from, God, or from, some people say that we're getting thoughts from aliens or from like a higher self on another planet, or your angels, or your passed away loved ones, whatever. Like thoughts come in all different forms, and the possibilities are endless. And you could say, just like scientifically, like thoughts are just patterns and habits. And I'm sure there's a scientist out there that can be like, these are thoughts, da, 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 da. And I love what you're saying about just being at the source of your own thoughts. And just like, that kind of ties into being at the source of, like the products and the food that you eat, and the chemical free products, skincare products that you're putting on your body. Being at the source of this thought, like, where did this thought come from? Is this thought from what my stepmom told me when I was 3 years old? Or is this a thought that, my teacher told me when I was in 5th grade? Or is this a thought that I generated newly, that I created in meditation with myself, or as I was journaling? Or is this a thought that, as I was praying, and then God, spoke through my thoughts and said, go this way? Like, just thinking a little bit, reflecting a little bit on the thoughts that we're having, and being at the source of it is a powerful tool. I think also can be towards raising your frequencies as well, and just a tool for just having peace with yourself too. Because there's sometimes we have thoughts that run us, like, I'm not good enough. And that thought originated from outside of you, or from like your ego, or from whatever mechanism inside of ourselves that is trying to protect us from whatever thing. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, I really liked the concept of being at the source of your thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, it is, it's powerful. And it's, I mean, because I'll have thoughts, right? We do all the time. And I'm like, especially if there are thoughts that I like want to get rid of, I'm like, oh, what is that? Like, almost never is it what's actually happening in the moment. It's almost always something that I either had passed on to me, or programmed, or learned from the past. Somebody did something when I was 5, and I said no, right? Like, this is dangerous. Like, from here on, going forward. And then too, like, what is like my will? Like, what is like, is it God trying to tell me something? Are they my angels or my guides? Or is this some kind of like self-serving something? Like, right? Like we were talking earlier about abundance. Like, I've really got to look at that when I'm asking for that, and let go of any attachment to what it is that I think it should look like. Because it's totally okay to ask for money, right? And why am I asking for it? Like, why am I like, what is it? Or sometimes I'll wish, right, that my body was different, or and then getting to the source of that, like what has me want to work out and do the gym, like what has me like really looking at it. And two, it's crazy because a lot of times, like, I've done a lot of work, right? So I've handled a lot of my stuff, and it's like now I've gotten to the point where a lot of things, I mean, our mind, right? I still have all kinds of thoughts, but it's like, now that I've dealt a lot with myself, it's allowed me to move on to like my ancestors, my family members, the people around me, and like start really doing that kind of work, right? And all in keeping my frequency high too, like clearing myself out, being able to raise my frequency so then I can go to work on other areas of life and heal things. Like, because I know there's some things that come up for me and I'm like, oh, this feels like my grandmother. Like, it feels like something my grandmother struggled with growing up, and then be able to do the healing and the ancestral work to heal her.
Yeah, because we're all connected. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, I feel like we could keep going. You know, I love these conversations with you, and we just reach so many different levels in these whenever we get together. I love it. So, where can people find you? Where can they buy your product and try out your intention-based, chemical-free, all-natural skin loving care?
Yes, you can find it at lindsayjoseph.com. It's LindsayJoseph.com, lindsayjoseph.com. It's for both men and women, hence the name, Lindsay Joseph. So all the scents are pretty natural. You can definitely find all of my products on my website. I also do some tarot card reading and some birth chart and human design. I have like a little, like, I have something set up on my website called a discovery call. So if I said anything that sparks any interest, or you want to know more, or anyone wants to explore like really what it looks like to dive deep and intimately know yourself and love yourself, like anything that I said, like, you can always set up a call and we can just explore together and maybe create something that we can work on together too. So check out my website. I'm starting to post more blogs. I've really, social media is it's a crazy place. And so I'm saying, let's bring back the .com, like the .com era, where like I've gotten, now that I'm like not on social media so much, I've gotten on so many amazing websites, read so many articles and things that people have written that I would have never like seen like this, just like staying just only on social media. So check out my website, lindsayjoseph.com. There's all kinds of things that you can see there and book and buy and reach out.
Beautiful. Thank you. I love you so much.
I love you.
This has been such a beautiful conversation. Everybody go to lindsayjoseph.com and try out her products. I love the moisturizer. I love the face masks. And I'm looking forward to trying the bath salts for sure. I got to get one of those, get myself in order. But yeah, thank you so much. And is there anything you want to leave the audience with before we head out?
Choose love. Choose love.
Beautiful. Choosing love. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your magic with us.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for having me as your guest. Thank you.
My pleasure. Alrighty. We're going to head out. Thank you, everybody who listened, and we will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye. For more guided meditations, soulful conversations, and conscious content launched weekly, please follow the Magic Lighthouse wherever you listen to podcasts. See you next week.